welcome to Where Is My Mind, a podcast where we talk fascinating films and we stand German Shepherds. I'm that special type of eyeliner that never rubs off no matter what you force it to do, Parker.
And I'm the 19th hole on an 18-hole golf course, Ryan.
And today, we're finally doing our first Italian movie. I don't know why it's taken us, how many episodes in are we? I don't know why it's taken us this long to do one, but like, okay, 6 episodes. Why wasn't this like one of the first things we did? Why did we have to do Flexing with Monty second? Why couldn't we have done this?
I think it was because someone was obsessed with Schlingensief. I think that's
I'm asking about Flexing with Monty
because Monty's beloved by all. You have questions?
statements. I'm convinced the only sexual pleasure that man gets is through his muscles, not the one in his pants.
I think they're pulsing with power.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you have to use pulsing to describe your muscles, I think that's how you have sex, not with your dick. Take that as you will. Today we're talking about one of like a fairly like something that you say was lost, not lost, but like unavailable for some time. We're talking about 1970s In the Folds of the Flesh from Sergio Bergonzelli.
so In the Folds of the Flesh by Mondo Macabro. I wanted to mention that it has an excellent book by Roberto Curti,
Very
and it's
robust.
all the history that you need on his filmography, which is not terribly extensive in comparison to many other Italian directors within this time period. The commentary was by Sam Deegan on this, so that's reason alone to
Oh,
purchase
yeah.
this.
We support Sam here a lot. We love her. Some of the people in our Discord are colorful, but we love her so much. I say that as a non patron.
There's always room for all of us to be a patron at some
I
point.
have.
I've been for some time. Um, so Sam did a deep research on Bergenzelli as well as the film, and this episode is not that. If you want that, you should really buy the Blu-ray.
You should
And
buy, yeah, you should actually get like the physical of this and like analyze it and make your own conclusions. We don't do that here unless we want to.
that's true.
This is not one we want to be like, well, here's what this means. Let's talk academic. It's like, no. Even though we are like kind of academic, we're not serious.
In moments, we don't take ourselves too
No,
serious. So,
we're taking yourself seriously.
I mean, In the Folds of the Flesh is a Italian giallo film that fits that Filoni. To be specific, I think myself it leans towards the art giallo. There's some graphic violence and some of the tropes of the giallo. However, it's a pretty colorful film that can be just the wardrobes and set pieces can be exactly as distracting as the plot can be, which is a good thing. I think this film, for what some may see as flaws, I think that it is one of the most fun Giallo that exists. The Fox with the Velvet Tail is probably the second one that I would put into this category, where it
What's the
it's pretty madcap fun.
Can we talk to like Giallo gatekeeping a bit?
Yes,
Sort of bullshit. That pisses me off so much. Relax, people. Even if Suspiria is not really a Giallo, that's what gets people even into the genre in the first place. Not just within Giallo, but also like Italian horror in general. Like I'm pretty sure that was the first Italian horror I watched. You know, in a very dark room with the air conditioning going at 100 miles an hour, but still, it's the first Italian
yeah.
horror film I've watched. It's the most accessible out there, I think. Let's not be mean to it or be mean at people that like they call it that because that's what the mainstream calls it. But just
Well, and like what we talked about was like sort of the degree of negativity and passive aggressive behavior that we noticed from
constant like
folks. I was calling it the stages of Giallo acceptance, and I'm happy to read that off. I think the first one is I'm insecure because I haven't seen everything.
that's me
Eh,
constantly,
Number
constant.
number two, I'm going to demonstrate said insecurity by making jokes about the genre I supposedly love, but I only find time to make snide remarks about it.
Ooh,
Number three, I've created 5 Jalo memes and I still feel empty. Number four, I'm insecure because I haven't seen everything. And number 5 is maybe it's okay that I haven't seen everything. I can respect and enjoy the genre without being a gatekeeper. Everything is okay.
We're gonna lose over this. I know we are.
If it hits home, it's okay. It's all right. There's room to fix. There's room to be better. But if it hits home and you defend it,
You are just.
well,
We can like listen. We can sit here and gatekeep and whatever, but like, it's not worth it. Most of my like, most of my friends are like not film friends, and they listen to me. I'm like, no, if you want to find this dumb, like crazy thing I found on some random site, like go for it. I'm here to talk about it because I thought it was cool. That's what film forums should be.
yeah, the positive wins the day, but being positive sometimes is the most rebellious, dangerous thing you'll do because you have
It's
10
being
other people.
conservative. Good night, everyone.
Yeah, we'll be here. See you later.
Being positive is a very rebellious thing because not everyone does it all the time, and it's very easy to be negative, like
Yeah.
aggressively easy. Did I just like ruin that? Do you want to?
These are words to live by, really. I mean,
Do you,
at the end of the day,
do you want to choke me out now?
no.
End it
But I
now.
mean, that's
End the
there.
suffering.
There's definitely sequences in this film where I mean, I wish you to have like an amazingly blue orb lamp just for your own ownership sake that draws the attention away from the characters entirely.
It's not like the most. I say that, but there's incest in this. It's not the most revolting thing ever. Like we've covered worse. We've covered more graphic things. It's just the way it's delivered, you know?
Yeah, there's
In
a
like a very
celebration factor.
waxy, pretty like thing, sense. That you're just kind of like, oh, okay, that's okay.
I mean, the amount of raised eyebrows and just like wide-eyed looks
Dramatic.
from yeah,
Very
from
panic.
Celeste.
Like moments of just like,
It's constant zoom shots of people with their eyes wide open. And I like that. I think that's good stuff. So yeah, so I mean it was mandatory for you to check out Blood Delirium with
yes,
John Philip Law.
watching an airport. I'm normal. I promise you.
Other people didn't think that, I'm sure, with their Twitter surfing, and that's okay.
Sorry, I'm drinking my own spit while recording. Apparently, air pressure changes are not nice to your sinuses. I know. I've already been. I know. 10 minutes and already hacking up my lungs. It's fine.
Blood Delirium just damages the senses, like your sense of
Yes.
decency,
Yeah.
your
What the
sense of
fuck?
what John Philip Law's alcoholism is really doing to him in the role.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Gordon Mitchell. I mean,
I'm
he's
sorry.
yeah. That scene not only doesn't fit the film, but it's so great because it doesn't fit. All of a sudden, he walks off and starts having.
It was so out of. He's so creepy and just gross. I didn't realize. I forgot he was the doctor in Frankenstein 80. That's another one
Mhm.
I have seen.
It's mostly what he does that's
It's just he's so like
jarring.
ew.
Because that body's in a coffin, correct?
I think so. Yeah.
While, yeah,
She's like out.
yeah.
Yeah. Hands to yourself. Hands to yourself.
It's the weirder of Bergenzelli's films. In the Folds of the Flesh isn't
That's
that
such a
graphic,
stretch.
actually.
That's such a stretch to say, though. I think my notes for that for Blood Delirium were like, this is just proof that like you don't think while you're watching this. Just go along with it. Don't worry about it. Like
I mean, you could start that movie, you could just jump in at any different point
you
and
really
be
could.
just as amused.
I did like that it was a painter, as like the whole thing. He's trying to find like the pain of life or whatever. I did like
Mhm.
that aspect. Of course, being obsessed with a woman that just so happens to look like your dead wife is kind of choice, but
I was obsessed with Brigitte Christensen's uh, similarity to David Duchovny.
she's very distinct facial features. But she's very very good at it. So
It's surprising that this didn't damage her career particularly.
oh yeah, like all sorts of crazy.
I like it. I think it's it's sort of a dual lead really, and I do kind of
Yeah,
lean toward enjoying uh her acting and her parts a little bit more than John Philip Law, which I know is heresy to to
Well,
say
okay,
because
he's it gets on your nerves.
it's easier to root for her, generally speaking. John Philip Law is pretty troubled, so
I
we're
don't
already
think
going in.
he's just the main character.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's fine. Um, yeah, no. So if you want to, melt your brain a little bit more, go watch that. I think there's like a cut version of it on YouTube. I don't know how the hell you got the full version, but
It's a Vinegar Syndrome
oh, okay,
release. Came with their
okay.
subscription stuff. Yeah, they did a fantastic job on it. It's a kind of a surprise to see it released, but I mean, definitely fans that enjoy it and love it. I enjoy it quite a bit, but I don't know if it's something once a year is really plenty because it's pretty bonkers and it's a little depressing actually.
It
There's some
is.
I love a good downer story too, but I think because John Philip Law's alcoholism in real life kind of mirrored some of what I think he's putting on screen in a way that's really tough for me to watch because I like to think that everything is great on the actor's personal side of things and that they're just really good at the role. So when I found out there's he all was not well
There
with
is
him.
truth to this. There is like reality in the fiction. So
Yeah, a little close to the bone
let me
on
be delusional for a little bit.
sell me the fantasy kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Speaking of fantasies and shit, the other thing we watched was Christiana Devilman, which I know was a recommendation a few episodes ago.
Yeah, possibly one of the best nunsploitation films I've ever watched.
Pretty good, pretty interesting. Shot
It's
more
foreign.
sexual than this.
Yeah, I mean, you'd sort of expect it
Yeah,
in a way because they kind of felt I think they felt obligated. Whereas in The Folds of the Flesh,
it's just
I don't know what it felt obligated to. I mean, Christiana Devil Nun, when she takes over the car, that sequence alone is a power dynamic change that was just perfect. I thought that was absolutely great.
so good. And
So,
we're suckers for nunsploitation here. So
especially the wrong ones. Watch the incorrect ones, it only makes it better.
like images in a convent.
I wasn't displeased.
I wasn't either, but the hardcore rape scene got me. So
I just blotted that out, really. It's as per usual.
as most normal people, as like yeah, not normal people. Who am I kidding? Only you block out like the weird, gross things, and you're just kind of like, that was it. Okay, whatever. And you're just like,
So today's film, it starts with a disclaimer, which is always a good sign
oh
when
yeah,
when you have written text saying, and then a sudden violent shock that left a deep impression on the mind and damaged it permanently. Sigmund
that's
Freud.
how I felt watching it. So I'm sure.
So our actors today, we have in the role of Lucille is Eleonora Rossi Drago. In the role of Celeste is Anna Maria Pierangeli. The role of Pascal, he's a dirty Ron Jeremy looking bastard, um, which is how I referred to him for at least a portion of my
Oh,
notes.
okay. I have him. No, okay. Ron Jeremy, like the porn star.
Yeah, kind of Mario looking.
God, I'm gonna ruin your day with this. I
Okay,
have him in my notes as porn version of Mario, which is really
it's
funny
porn
because I
Mario.
think Ron Jeremy did.
Oh my.
I'm glad we were on the same page.
Yeah, yeah. That's. I'm not surprised that our
I think it's called. It's some.
simpatico.
I'll steal your box link. It's some dumb title that I was like, I have to watch this, but I'm not wanting. I'm not happy.
Well, they don't disclose his name until the last third of the film. So again, it's like I have to have a name device marker to be able to write about said person. And so I
That's
didn't
true.
know he was
I
Pascal
have like yeah.
till
Well,
20 minutes at the end.
not that names matter much in this movie, to be fair.
They don't. Well, they cause confusion. So I mean, Pascal's played by Fernando Sancho. Colin, my favorite character, is played by Emilio Gutierrez Caba. Elizabeth is Maria Rosa Schlazero. Michelle is Victor Barrera. Andre is Giancarlo Sisti. And Antoine is Luciano Catenacci. So that's who we're working with
Did you
here.
do any further research on the cast? Because I didn't. Do you recognize anyone? Because they looked like they had credits, but like I was like,
In the role of Antoine, for instance, Luciano, I mean, he's a fairly prevalent character actor. but again, it's just small roles throughout a lot of different films.
Right.
Anna Maria Pierangeli, one of the more prominent people.
Okay.
Rossi Drago, she's been in a lot of stuff. She has this look that's very much like Italian Barbara Steele, is how I view her. And I don't
Very
know,
upset Audrey Hepburn. Like there were a couple shots in this. I was like, that's her.
like for Valessa's role, it's so much open eye surprised looks that it's just exhausting, not for the viewer but just
For
as
Pierre, yeah.
for her, yeah,
Oh my
specifically. It's
god.
they rely on her to just emote
It's
constantly
like
or
blink,
stare. Yeah, she doesn't blink much.
blink
Not gonna
once
see
if
much.
you're in trouble. Blink once if you need help. Blink twice if you're okay.
Yeah, and this film can be a little bit confusing, the latter portions, because the use of the names of who certain
Who's
characters
who and
are,
what's going
who's who
on.
gets, yeah, you get
But that's like
s-
not shocking to me.
it's not.
It's just
I mean,
Giallo.
red herrings. You're gonna have
It
these,
throws shit at you and expects you to go along with it. And it's like, all right, cool. I will. Just this once. I will say the actor who plays Colin just looks like a grown up version of Michael from Burial Ground, but with better fashion taste. We talked about it. I was like, the way because he'll stare into the camera sometimes too. And I'm like, it doesn't have that Peter Bark flair. Because, like, if you haven't seen Burial Ground, God bless you. Go, get on it.
you need to.
Go.
It's important.
You need, stop listening, go watch it. It's dumb as shit. Love it. Perfect.
Nobody puts Peter Bark in the
No one, no one. You insult Peter Bark, you're going to hell.
or you're buying a pillowcase available from Severin.
Yes,
Not sure on the
absolutely.
price.
Oh, 100%.
Colin's a really peculiar character,
It's a fucking weirdo.
but he's
Michael's
dressed so
Michael.
well.
At least Michael's a
He-
kid.
I mean, he seems really at peace with it and enthusiastic about
He's cool
this.
with it.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
normal. This is like an average to everything that happens in this movie that he does is an average Tuesday night. He's never once like shocked. He's emotive, but he's never like shocked, I don't think.
I mean, he has a henchman sort of quality, assistant
To Lucille,
to all
yeah.
of the to
Is there
Lucille.
yeah. We should also clarify. Well, okay, I guess we'll get into the family tree when we really get into it. Strap in, bitches.
Well, they start off by ruining this really nice rug with a decapitated head,
Ruining
and
Christmas.
then a bloody, yeah, bloody corpse all over the place, and a sword next to it.
Everyone's
So
standing around to like,
yeah, Lucille, the mom, and her two kids are just staring at what has just happened.
the
So
whole
that's great.
they're just fucking staring.
No, they almost just
They're
they
like,
don't even seem.
dead body. I think it makes more sense in context, but it's like we don't have that context at this point. 2 seconds in, I don't think we have that context.
No, I mean the film in general has a lot of sequences where it's just like the grind of body processing of like now we have corpse, now we have to get to the work part
Here's the
of
funny part: like film's version of exposition is thing that happens makes no sense. Okay, let's throw some exposition that makes. Let's throw some exposition that will make it make sense. That exposition in itself makes no fucking sense,
no sense.
and
Yeah.
they don't explain that.
The joy of a double negative is that it's proof positive. So uh
I'm so happy this is like pretty looking and like, well shot and like kind of decently acted because like if it wasn't, this would be I would have hated this.
yeah, like a trailer of this doesn't do justice to the actual film, and that's often for a lot of films, but you have to just go straight into this. Go in cold.
Quit
Yeah.
listening. Go. Go. Right now.
And then come back. Come and then return.
Wait
It's
those
okay.
couple weeks for shipping. We might have a new
Yeah.
episode out, but like go. Go watch it. Quit being a loser.
You will be visually challenged in every good way. There's wardrobe changes. I mean, almost every cut scene of the
Adjacent.
film, every adjustment. If they walk into a new room and it's the same room that
I have
is
to change.
adjacent, they change, and that's wonderful.
It's like
It,
in like the Victorian era where they had to have like different outfits for everything. It's like it's
and they're
this is,
audacious.
this is supposed to be modern era, but like circa 1970.
Yeah, the use of color is just
Yeah.
wonderful stuff here. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Welcome back if you just now finished.
you've survived. You made it through.
And if you're still not, and if you're gonna be a dick and just continue going, fuck you. But we're happy you're listening. So
Yeah. They attempt to cover the body up, and we've
Yeah,
got
there's
police cars going crazy.
a
And at first I thought, like, how do they know that this murder just happened? But it turns out they're really pursuing like the fleeing Ron Jeremy um, is on the loose.
Spanish
S-
Ron Jeremy.
Spanish Ron Jeremy.
Yeah, Spanish Ron
Yeah,
Jeremy's just running because he's an escaped convict.
yeah,
So
on the
there's like
beach,
police,
no
like, and
less.
he just ends up on their property, and he sees that Lucille is just burying this body, and then the police catch him without noticing Lucille doing anything suspicious.
Well, and then he sees her, Spanish Ron Jeremy. He sees her set that boat in motion, and I thought there was like a body on the boat, etc. Along those lines. She just turns the boat kind of on, I guess, and sets it going. But what's
I could have
bizarre,
both, so
she removes the keys. So,
that's suspicious.
yeah, she takes the keys out, and then the boat takes off out into the ocean. So right out of the gate, I'm like, Bergenzelli is fucking with us because you don't take the keys out of a car, and then all of a sudden it just starts driving off into the sunset. So I think there's a little clue there of he might not always play fair. So
Yeah,
Spanish Run Jeremy like watches all this and then runs off, and then she starts digging the grave because that's
that's how you do
uh
things.
it's how you do things. And then
Bury
there's
your
these
body.
the train cut scenes. You don't know why. There's no train nearby,
Right, there's yeah, they
but
just
there's
there.
it just becomes these scenes of trains moving, and
Already hit 90 minutes. It's okay.
I,
We hit the 90-minute runtime. We don't need these shots.
I technically, like, I guess, yeah, they do tie in to Lucille's life experience that we'll get to,
Again,
dealing
like
with
I said,
trauma.
they'll show something random and then they'll be like, all right, here's the exposition that makes it make sense. And then the exposition just makes no sense. But they also tie that in with like cyanide pills. So
They
we'll
do.
get to
Well, and Colin, aka Big Peter Barker, is a shot. Big Peter Barker. He's staring from a window and he's watching, Lucille up to her night digging. So that's just kind of like, okay, so then he's
Don't
traumatized as well because
don't disgrace either of the Peters that we love here, which is Peter Bark and Peter Parker. Don't you dare do that again.
I like both. A fanfic where you bring those two together. I'm just saying there's an audience for it.
Are there any fanfic writers we know besides me? Well, I don't write fanfic, but like anyone like in this circle that we know.
So she stops the night digging to then start talking to the police, who explain to her that Pascal, Spanish run Jeremy, is on the loose
He's on
and
the
they're looking
property.
for him. And he's on the property. And they find him. It's not that big of a deal. They find the motorcycle crashed and tell him to come on, get back in your cage. And they do this swirling color art on the screen.
For the intro.
Yeah, and I don't know,
Yeah.
it never happens again. You really
No.
want it to happen again because it's pretty fun, hippie psychedelic styling. Uh, and then they just quote from from Freud saying, "What has been remains, embedded in the brain, nestled in the folds of the flesh, distorted it conditions, and subconsciously impels."
Yeah, Ford was
So,
this movie. Just saying.
oh, big time.
Love this movie.
Parker, do you know what the birds were in this film that they used? What type of
Form of raptor, vulture.
I think they're vultures. I
Yeah.
was calling them buzzards at one point,
Yeah, that's
and
close.
I don't know.
Same family. Yeah, we just keep vultures as pets here. We name them. And anytime anything weird or crazy happens, they just start they just start on up like a dog.
I mean, and we get two of them. We get Kyoka and Kiki, who Kyoka mostly gets the attention for the first half of the film, and then Kiki kind of gets the second portion. Go watch The Creature. Maybe not the best.
Did you order that Blu-ray? Did you order the Blu during the sale? I didn't.
No, not for Thanksgiving. No, I can't show that at Thanksgiving. Uh, but
You
no,
could show Pico at Thanksgiving because that would be a very fun family bonding time. Yeah, so this German Shepherd and his owner Michelle, they come on to the property. Why are they visiting? I cannot remember.
I don't think that we
We don't get an ex. Or why are we? Why are we here? Do you just show up
they yeah.
places?
Yeah, I think it's just sort of the kind of
That's how people come into the plots. They just show up.
yeah, because it's not Feles's, like,
No one's dad. It's no one's
husband.
mom.
Yeah,
He's
uh,
just there. It's a set. He's a setup basically.
pretty much.
So, but he's there. He's cool.
And he's giving, like, the toast to Andre and so on.
Which we have no idea who Andre is. I think Andre is supposed to be the guy they buried.
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
he's kind of the presumptive father in a sense, but we really don't know much of
She is at this point.
that.
Lucille is Colin's mom, and
Yes.
Celeste is Andre's daughter. So I
Yes.
think that makes like that has to make her like a step or a half because they were married. I think that's what we know.
And, like, Colin's talking about his dad and, like, gawking and so on, but then he starts kissing Feles's feet, his toes. And I don't mean, like, a little
It's
bit,
like
like
I don't care if you're not blood related. What is this?
yeah, I said, "So
You don't just do that.
it's this kinda movie."
It's
Was
like
basically
shamelessly cesty, no matter how close or how far.
I mean, at least it's established early.
Yeah, it's
I'll
not
give
like
him
a
that.
jump
Doesn't
scare.
get thrown on you later.
Yeah, thank God. It's not like some. I mean, it is cheap, but it's like, what the fuck? I don't think I even noticed that the first time I watched it. I was just like, I think something else happened a little bit later that I was like, okay,
Yeah,
moving
because you don't
on.
pick up on, like, the inference of them as brother, sister right away, so you're
No,
just thinking, "Well, maybe that's her boyfriend, or maybe that's"
no,
you know,
they
some
say it in a bit that they're like they're at
yeah.
least related by marriage, by like paternal marriage, which is weird. It's so I hate it.
And Lucille's kind of this, like, doting, mother to an extent toward Feles, so you really buy in.
Colin.
And towards Colin. Yeah, yeah,
Like, I think more towards Colin because she's also always telling him to do shit.
true.
But like, of course, you have yet to see Lucille doesn't smile like a single bit throughout this entire movie. Always like this, she always looks like her puppy has died.
Yeah, it's or she's, like, scorning, uh,
Yeah,
kind of look
just she.
toward the kids.
There's like maybe one instance she like gives a positive facial expression. Maybe one instance.
It's a lot of flared nostrils is what I noticed,
Yes,
like, there's a
lots of
thing
cougar
to
stares.
uh-huh,
Even those
yeah.
might not have been a thing, but lots of Kubrick stares. So yeah, they're toasting Andre, and there's just my, Michelle gives Phyllis this like cockroach beetle thing that has like a gold shell on it,
Yeah.
like this metal gold shell. It's moving, and I couldn't tell if it was fake or not. I was like, oh, it's
It's
so
real.
weird.
I thought it was like a brooch type piece of
Yeah,
jewelry, and then I was like, "Oh, hell,
that's
there's a
that's
bug inside of
a beetle.
this.
That's a
There's a
that's,
bug in this."
that's a bug. Yeah.
I don't get it.
So then Colin's like trying to give him food, and like they have skeletons in the closet, quite literally. They do.
They technically do. They have the Etruscan, relics and
They
stuff.
literally are just like, and they're like, they just have them in the house. And Michelle looks at one of them and is like, haha, this one looks like a friend. It's so weird.
And Colin's feeding meat to the buzzards.
This poor dog. But he's like, starts sniffing this like very shallow grave where this body has been for whoever knows long, digs up like a skull or something. And it's like, and then Colin chokes it out with its collar. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that doesn't actually, like, it happens in the film, it doesn't actually happen, and it's this weird, like, jewelry sort of
It's a choke collar. I,
choke collar. Yeah.
I have one for my dog. Yeah.
The problem I had, and it just is like, no.
Casual about it too.
Well, is when they do the inferred, like, holding the dog limp, that I think it's just the dog's just sedated, or perhaps they used a dog that had been put down, so it actually was a deceased dog.
You're
I'm
not
not sure.
helping.
It's one of the 2, and you gotta address it.
They don't get
Somebody
it on screen, so I think that's their
no, there's
point. It's an
nothing
actual
yet.
it's not an actual animal death.
There isn't, but some people might find
I
just the
mean, you're still killing
connection.
a dog, but, like, it's not like it's not a video nasty. This wouldn't have been like we're
No,
not pulling a Hannibal Holocaust on anyone.
no,
It
no,
just sucks because it's a dog dying.
correct.
No what we all like dogs.
Whereas the beheadings completely
Beheadings are fine.
reasonable. And
Yeah,
so
yeah, we don't worry about that. And then yeah, Colin starts just getting handsy with Celeste again.
he can't stop. He
Can't
just
stop. Just can't get enough of this poor half sister. I shouldn't digress to Depeche Mode like that.
so Colin gets all pissed off because the flirting, it's not going well. Things are not really
No
shaping
shit.
up for him. And yeah, so we cut over to Michelle after like quick shower, and he is like, oh, it's time to respond
Wait,
to
write
this
a
letter.
letter.
Yeah, I'm gonna write. This is
Write
my
a letter
letter
to a
writing
guy
time.
named Derek, telling him, "Hey, I made it. Come
Yep,
on over."
things are good here. Come visit. Things are going pretty well. And then we have Michelle going in and leering all around and walking around Celeste while she's sleeping,
Mhm.
which is a recipe for disaster, as we will see, because we've got flashbacks to Celeste with a sword. And yeah, so she's like a little kid with a sword doing. Um, so Celeste has a sword as the flashback when she's a kid, and that's not good
No,
because
no.
apparently some bad things happened. And
Some not nice things happened to her and her
yep,
family.
hmm
And so she's like fawning over like Michelle's dead body. I think she good
yeah.
tries to
Well,
like
because she stabs him. Yeah, she snaps him
weird.
in the neck. I was like, oh my god, she stabbed him in the neck here, and she's like not stopping. Colin's watching the whole thing, and he's
Yeah, like
just
just
again the voyeur of the story here. He
yeah, no, I think when like Michelle is finally down, she like goes near his crotch and I was like, okay, thanks. I don't know what that implies, but I was
yeah.
like, that's weird. You don't do that with a dead body.
No, then Lucille shows up, and of course, this is just like now everybody's traumatized. Oh, this
Sis
again.
pleased.
I mean, she's
All
pretty
the
put
time
out by.
body takes that bitch away.
hmm
Gets rid of it. He's happy. He's fine with it. This is normal.
And Lucille finds out about the note
Yes,
that's
it's Derek.
to Derek,
This
and
Derek
then
guy.
it was weird that they decided to mail the letter, but they're just like, that's how we'll throw him off the track. If we
They
deliver
never get
the
the
letter,
letter.
it's
It's like
gonna
so
be
weird.
fine. It's like, why don't you just skip skip
Why
that?
don't you feed it to the fucking birds?
hmm Alex spits on the family bird, and then they start walking around inside the house,
Oh,
and
yeah, let's elaborate who Alex is real quick. He's just a guy that shows up.
yeah, with strange.
Nothing to do with the plot. I don't think he's ever elaborated on further
I
after like
think
this whole gig.
I kind
He
of
just
thought he would
shows
tie
up.
it to like maybe like the mob ties that
That are later.
the man
I
might
don't
have.
know.
It's hard to say.
It's hard to talk about Giallo twist before you get to them. You know?
True. Yeah, and I think like with Alex, we're just like this guy's got a really strange kind of beard thing going on. It
Yeah.
just shows up, and he's
He
all about
clearly
stuff.
knows who Michelle was because he's like, this is, Buck's collar and like pulls up like the leather dog collar.
We're not sure if he
Ooh.
spits on Kiki or if it's Kyoka.
Right. It's not cool. It's not a cool move.
No, no, no. And then we cut into like the bathtub scene, effectively the wash tub that they're melting the body down in.
Talk about bathtubs.
Yeah, yeah. It's oh boy.
Not quite as appetizing as the other one. I'll say that.
Yeah, this is
I'll say
Jeffrey Dahmer vat of green hell
yeah,
melting
it's
down the.
serial killer.
It's gross. Yeah,
It's like, and you don't know what's in there.
I mean, yeah,
We don't, not yet,
nope,
not
because they
yet.
just have wooden oars.
They're
So,
just like pushing it around, and, like mixing shit. It's weird. It's like, what kind of fucking science lab is this? Never done that in school.
and there's like a chute. So, like, there's like an exit port where like you're watching.
Poisoning the water. of wonderful southern Italy or wherever this takes place.
Yeah, they're not being very environmentally friendly.
No, no, not cool.
It's got to go somewhere. So the leather dog collar
Try
gets
not like
removed.
dog collar.
Yeah, so the
Yep.
inspector gets there, and I was like, Celeste is in full leopard print and banana yellow get up,
Yep.
which is pretty awesome.
Hey, what's the
I,
70s?
yeah, the weird part of though is like even the inspector, he's sort of odd because he grabs a cigarette off of her, or Alex does. I'm sorry, Alex grabs a cigarette off of her,
Yeah,
and that's odd, very odd.
he's weird. He's like flirting with her.
Yeah,
He's very forward about it. He's not creepy, but he's very forward about it. It's just like, how's this gonna? It's like, all right. So she invites him in. She calls him a Don Juan. I was like,
hmm,
uh huh,
yeah, the
yeah.
Casanova Don Juan sort of thing.
And so that she sits on his lap because she's clearly like I said, not creepy. She's just like, I'm gonna accept this guy flirting with me. Then Colin walks in and is just like, we don't need parasites around here.
And he's not wrong. I mean, technically, some of what Colin, yeah, but
Colin hasn't looked in a mirror in a while. I'll say that.
yeah, he's got some vanity issues,
But yeah,
among others.
well, like, yeah, Celeste is basically just like, no, we can keep this guy like around. Like he'll have dinner with us. He'll stay the night. All that. And the other two are just like,
Yeah, they're playing along, and we get a dinner scene out of it, which is really good fun because Celeste is playing guitar, so she's noodling on classical guitar, and Colin's smoking his pipe, showing off his
artwork.
artwork and stuff because Colin is an
Yeah.
artist.
And then they're like, yeah, yeah, Colin's an artist or like a musician or whatever. And they start playing some tapes. They begin very spicily.
Yeah, the tapes themselves, like what they're
Content, it's like, what? Okay. And then
it's
like
kind of
some
pervy spoken word, I guess, and then the music
yeah,
starts.
big time.
And then yeah, so
And like there's some music and they start dancing. Celeste and Colin just start making out.
yeah, yeah.
Again,
And
not
Alec
hiding it.
and Alex seems to be
He's fine.
thoroughly
He's into
amused.
it.
He's like, I'm gonna rewind the tape. We're gonna
Yeah,
play more of this.
I want to see this play. I want to see
Oh
this again.
god. Oh god,
It's
no.
like, what the fuck? We're finding out this is just very hard to encapsulate every single little detail.
I mean, Lucille's always not not pleased with whatever's happening. So we have her as like a really she's a rock. She's our reliable.
Kind sure, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's really not pleased with this. And I'm like, yeah, this is clearly not like a new thing. And it's like, okay, well, it's clearly not new.
And then we cut right over to Alex and Celeste in bed, of course, and then Colin standing there behind like a metal partition,
What is it?
just staring. Yeah.
Again, like that fucking blank stare. Just so, did he agree to it? Is this like a set? Like, does Alex know about this? Does Celeste, like, kind of swinger gross setup is this?
I was calling it Colin Interruptus because he just couldn't help himself. And he says, the praying mantis, the role of the male. If you
And
don't go, you'll play that role. You have my warning.
yeah, that's what yeah, when I'm sleeping with a guy, that's what I want. I want my half brother to walk in and tell me about how this is a bad idea in some really cryptic and weird way. Thanks.
I mean, it's a long statement instead of just like, hey, get off of her.
Yeah, it's
But
like yeah,
so,
it's not like, oh, cut it out, go do it somewhere else. It's like so weird. It's just like doesn't elaborate on it, leaves and just leaves. And then yeah, then like they're still rolling around, and then Felesh just pulls out a knife from like under the pillow or whatever. And
uh,
Alex is like, "Oh, so this is what happened. This is what happened to Michelle." Takes off her wig, her blonde wig.
yeah, which is pretty, like that seemed to really set things further.
Again, not elaborated. Not elaborated on. She's just like, "Give back my hair," or whatever.
Yeah, we didn't know she had a wig up to this
We didn't know.
point.
Yeah. She has brown hair. She's
Yeah,
a natural brunette. Yeah, so like as he's like fucking around with this wig, like just twirling around on his finger, she takes a sword off the wall and cuts off his head.
yep, very quickly. And he's taunting her with the wig. So it's like, is the affront the removal of the wig and then the murder?
Really?
Hard to say, but I mean, she goes into this like weird fugue state kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you can definitely tell, like, oh, that we know this is going to be a recurring thing. And again, it's like Lucille, not thrilled, more cleanup, more work to do.
She's just like, God damn it.
Colin, happy as a clam. He is digging it. He's like, this is the best day.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Lucille's just dragging this body away. More flashbacks to whatever the fuck happened.
the trains.
Trains, trains, and
Yep.
beheadings, and all the weird things, and all the trauma.
And Derek gets the letter that was mailed
Yes,
and hops on a plane, and it's a great excuse to show really just airports and plane footage,
yes,
travel style, which
yes.
the Jalo is notorious for including as into plot devices.
Yes, we call it filler here.
It's because they didn't have plane tickets to Jekyll Island. They were
Out
somewhere
now.
else.
Don't dox me like this, buddy. Don't, no, no. One of our Brit friends was like, one of my countrymen's wrote that book. He said that's how it's pronounced. I reject it.
So then we cut to inside of a mental facility that's super high fashion and arty, and they're just having celebrations. It looks like they're having a great time.
They
People are
really do. They're
doing,
trying their best.
yeah, there's just nothing depressing about it at all. Just kind of a feat, really, to pull off. So Derek arrives and finds, yeah, just this girl staring into space, like she's
She's happy.
happy as a clam. She's
She's
having a
cool.
great time. And then we have more grab ass with Colin and Celeste, naturally, because just in case we didn't
Yeah,
know.
order of things.
Yeah, yeah. And, Colin takes the phone call and just like tells off the caller and stop
Just
bothering
go
us, kind of
away.
thing.
They're all in bed, they're all sleeping, and then Pascal shows up again. The convict.
13 years later.
Yeah. Is he like escaped or like
Yeah,
did he like get released?
I think it's that he did 13 years time for the for whatever they were on the hunt for him for. And
Murder?
sure, perhaps. Um,
I
or,
think it said he's a murderer.
or
Like he's a
accomplice.
killer.
Yeah, I think it's attached to
13
something.
years. Plus an escape is God, that's
Yeah, so
that's ridiculous.
he's on the lam kind of thing. But I mean, it looks like he served. It's by the sound of it, it sounded like he served his time and he's coming back and he wants blackmail money for what he
He
went through.
claims to have seen
Yeah, for what he claims that he.
because
That
none of
he's,
this shit's real.
I mean, Colin's pouring J&B scotches for everybody. So
He is like, yeah, they're like
even the
literally,
audience, you're gonna probably need this extra to.
yeah. Yeah. Imagine like just waking up in the middle of the night after trying to sleep with your half sister, and then there's just a gun to your head by like this random fat dude. You're
I mean,
like,
Spanish Run Jeremy.
get up.
Spanish Run Jeremy is like, get up. We got scores to settle here. You owe.
We have it. He's creepy with the women. Like this guy's he's gross. Did we establish that he's gross?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Colin's just in his boxers. Colin's just in his boxers walking around, and it's weird.
Again, his wardrobe changes every single shot
So
nearly.
he's
So
basically he basically
it's
has
really
them
like an
both
excuse to put
hostage.
clothes on, but for this purpose, obviously not.
Yeah, Pascal just basically has them all in like the kitchen or whatever, and is like, I saw everything. I saw you burying that dead body. I saw the cabin cruiser with no one. There was no one on board. It was just on the fucking lake. So he's basically like, I want you to dig up this body so I can like get you people charged. Even though I'm like, all right, either that or begging for 200 grand.
That's a huge
Wow.
amount of money. I mean, it's basically saying $1 million back then.
Yeah,
So
it's like yeah, that's a lot of money for 1970. So he was like, I stayed quiet for 13 years. So yeah, they all take turns having to try to dig up this body.
mhm.
And what they do find first is the corpse of the dog. Just so happened to be buried near where Andre was buried. Because that must be convenient. I guess the birds like to watch.
And Pascal's just like, you guys are gonna keep digging. He's not
Fuck you. You're gonna
having it. He's
keep
like,
going.
I don't care where you buried the dog at. It's the dead human that's the issue here.
The
So
bones on my which like by the way, what do they do with that body? What happened to that body after that dog dug it up. Do we find out?
I don't think so.
It's just it feels like that would have been a big deal if that they had said anything about that.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
Okay. That's a
Mm,
spoiler alert. They don't
yeah.
mention this dead body. They don't
No.
find this dead body ever.
Which then makes you question your own sanity of like, did they actually bury the body? Where is the body at? It's a whole thing.
So yeah, it's so like yeah, Pascal pissed that they just find that they don't find the body first. Injures one of the birds, and Colin returned is pissed.
Because they shot his buzzard. I mean, yeah, they killed
They shoot
Kyoka.
the girls. Don't attack the girls. I'm not calling the girls. Kiki and Kyoko are girl names to me. I know me sound saying that sounds awful, but
In all likelihood, probably the case.
they're not. Yeah, I don't see it any other way. But yeah, and so it's just like they get into a fight, and then Pascal finally just grabs it. They all get into a fight, and then Pascal finally gets a gun and is like, "Okay, everyone in the fucking house. I'm not doing this."
And he calls Colin waiter. He's like, waiter, get us some whiskey, which I like.
His
I
favorite
think that's fun.
name. He calls all of them names too. Like he calls Colin a bunch brat,
Hmm.
not like Charlie XCX, just brat.
Yeah,
And then he calls Celeste Chickadee.
that's right.
Ew.
Yeah.
I don't know if he calls Lucille anything, but it's like gross. It's all disgusting and uncalled for.
I mean, he does a good job at that. And
He
he's
does
also
good
doing it.
acting.
He's doing it to bad people like Colin too. So it's also like, I
Yeah,
feel like
yeah,
you're
it's
getting a reward out of it
bad
in a way.
people being awful to bad
To
people.
each other. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like not fun to watch, but like okay. I mean, I guess they deserve it. But it's like, yeah, he's just basically ordering them around the house. He's like, he wants drinks, he wants music. You know, Lucille at one point tries to call the cops. He catches her. You know, he orders the girls to be tied up, and he tries to assault them. And then he makes Colin shine his shoes.
Without a shine box, mind you. I did
Yeah,
was kind of hoping for shine box, but it did not happen. It's just a standard kind of shining sequence. And yeah, Pascal's pretty mean.
he's gross.
Hmm.
Not a good guy. Not supposed to like him.
True.
Um, yeah, so then like I think like the next day comes, he's like, all right, everyone, we're all going out. He makes Celeste and Colin go outside. I think like he orders like Lucille to make something for him, like a, s- a half a dozen egg souffle. So he's just a
Barking breakfast orders, no less.
god. It's like god, really.
I mean, so we
I'm
cut.
assuming he slept with Celeste because he's like really happy about it. It's gross.
Yeah, and then we get into day digging as and he's calling, yeah, I think that's where he's calling Colin a brat again. Like
Constantly.
dig brat dig.
Yeah, Kyoko's alive. That's good. The buzzard's
Yes.
alive.
Yeah.
So it's so just constant like harassment towards Celeste, Lucille just being pissed, and Colin just being like a little bitch. That's this whole sequence.
It's a really like dark, mean breakfast, basically. And then Pascal gets crazy with the banana to try to like make
Trying to
Celeste.
get her to eat it, like don't eat
Yeah,
bananas. It's like
that doesn't go well. And Lucille storms, she just leaves.
she's
So
pissed.
at this point, Lucille literally just leaves and goes back into the house. As if she could just walk away and escape or whatever. But
She is
Pascal,
removing herself from the situation. I think now would be a good time to call the cops. Anyways, yeah. So she's like, Celeste like asks like, why do you want to? How do you think you're gonna get 200 grand out of us? And he's like basically like saying like, all right, I'll take this off your hands and this is blah blah blah. So he's basically gonna steal shit to get like 200 grand worth of their shit out.
which they don't have. I mean, he's like, I'll take the
No,
car, I'll take a few things.
no.
And then Lucille's up on top of the house and they do some insane, like wonderful exterior shot zooms that reminded me of Jess Franco a ton. They just kept doing the same thing to Lucille looking down on the whole mess. And it was warranted. It was well worth it. So Pascal finds their whole collection of Etruscan family bone hangout room, I
Yep.
guess.
It's the
So
downstairs where they like had the acid bath earlier, but like he doesn't know that, doesn't need to know that. So it's like there's a little bit of tension. But yeah, he's like, I won't let this take jail off me. Why don't you go run me a bath?
yeah,
Calvin's just like, yeah, sure. And he tries to start it in like this sink in this basement, but then he's like, no, in like the master bath. So you get that whole sequence with him in the bath, and it's gross.
and Lucille's basically offering up like to Colin, like, here's how we can bump
Yes,
him off. Yeah, she's like,
that's
I have these pills. It's like, oh no, lady. God damn it.
really. You know how they reveal this too? You know how they explain she has cyanide, or at least how she knows how cyanide works? The Holocaust.
Yeah, these are flashback sequences.
The Holocaust. It's in black and white.
Yeah.
It's like she was like, "Oh, my mother, my sisters, my friends, they were all gassed except me because they take her out of the lineup. They're all nude too. This is like the part of the movie where you get all the nudity because they're all a bunch of nude women get shoved into a gas chamber except Lucille. And so
And
they basically just make her watch all her friends die.
hmm
It's like, God, what the fuck? This is what I mean when it's like they show an exposition that just makes no sense. They just throw it in there because, hey, explains things. But yeah, they don't explain how she gets the cyanide either. I don't think.
no, nope.
They're just like, this is how it works. I'm like, this doesn't, you're missing the point of storytelling here, guys. Yeah, she's like, so she gives the pills to Colin. He puts them above this cuckoo clock that's like above the bathtub. So when it rings, it goes on the hour. They'll fall in. Which I mean, that's smart. I guess that's smart. So you don't have to like just walk by. Walk by this fat, greasy man just loudly taking a bath.
To upbeat music, no less.
Yeah,
Like he's
hate it.
just having a ball.
I'll put it this way: when I first tried watching this movie, I wasn't like paying attention a ton, which I know you don't do for Italian stuff. Until this scene, I just like looked on like the other side of my screen. And I was like, "Oh, I have no context to this, and I really don't know if I want it."
Yeah, it's
I
bad,
was
but I mean, thankfully, like Lucille does explain how fast it's going to be to Colin. Of like, well, this is the only way we're
Now the
gonna get
minute
him.
hand's on the 5. Now the minute hand's on the 11 on the clock.
Hmm.
So yeah, so Cuckoo finally, rings out. You know, cyanide pills fall in. He dies, suffocates, chokes on cyanide gas. Which, by the way, they would have all died if they were in the house.
I mean, there's gas everywhere. It's just
Yeah,
plumes of stuff. So yeah,
it's like
creative
the
license on.
doors open or not, you fucking die. Yeah, so Colin like goes and gets the body with a mask, with like a gas mask on, some flimsy ass looking gas mask. And he goes to Celeste and is like, no, everything's fine. She's like, what the hell are you doing? And his response is, I was playing World War One.
Yeah, it's like childlike glee of him playing like dress up
Are we
kind of
sure
thing.
this isn't Michael from Burial Ground? Just like slightly older? Are we
Uh,
sure?
I mean, nothing is certain. I think it's within reason that if Michael had, as he got older, perhaps this
Michael hadn't fucking died.
he switched the love for mom to the love for sister. Ugh,
Gross.
ugh, not good.
Yeah, no, not those one. Celeste is not happy about any of this. They find the body. She finds the body and she's just like horrified. She calls Colin a worm, Pascal a real man. She's like, but then it gets weirder.
It does.
It gets so much weirder because she's calling him a sadist and she starts beating him around, but then it gets sexual. And she's like, she keeps calling him like a slave and gets him on his knees, and then they start kissing, and it's like, okay. And then Lucille has to break it up, as mothers usually do.
The yeah, the makeup session, make out session, make up and make out. uh, and Lucille does put a stop to
Again,
that.
the first time it's happened in this film.
Hmm.
We are maybe 40 minutes in at this point. The incest is really rampant in this. It's kind of weird. I don't like it.
Yeah, it only becomes actually just more plot complex when we discover more things, and then you do go then you look back on everything that's transpired, and it just is equally
It
as
makes
muddy.
watch.
Makes less sense, yeah.
It
Yeah.
makes less sense, which like never happens.
Not often, no.
Never happens to me. I'm usually like connecting dots on my rewatch, and I'm like, no, Lucille and Colin go and melt Pascal, and she's like staring out the window or whatever, and she's just like horrified. Because I'm like, how do you not know about this? This might be the one time you get like any semblance of a smile from Lucille, because it's kind of like this evil grimace, if I recall.
Yeah, because, I mean, I think they feel a little bit of accomplishment to bump off the blackmailer effectively, so
Yeah,
and
she's like
they're
happy about it, happy
yeah.
she's gone.
The weird thing is so they're, like, cooking him down and everything, and they pull his head out on a stick, as one does, and Celeste is completely freaked out by this because she sees her father's face where it's actually Pascal, and that's
Yeah,
strange.
that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah,
But
just seeing your dad's decapitated head instead of the criminals. Okay.
but Bergonzelli, I mean, he lets stuff go really quick, and then we're just back to, like, Colin doing some painting, which is his first love, other than his sister and perhaps mom. Celeste is playing guitar, and everything appears well,
This
you
is
know?
normal. This is normal
Totally.
family time.
Yep.
Well, we're not making out with each other. You didn't tell me we were going to be doing family stuff on this episode. We've covered incest
I didn't
in
yeah.
this. You didn't reveal this part of the plot to me when you announced it.
We did no, I really
He never tells me anything.
that's exact yeah. That's
Maybe like but right before we start recording, he's like, "Oh, by the way, here's the next pick."
I mean, there isn't a bear in this film, so
No, thank God.
I
Oh,
did
thank
give you
God.
forewarning on that for Monty.
Well, yeah, but like you kept joking about it the entire time. So like when an hour in, when it finally fucking happened, it was weird. Poor Monty.
Colin not as
Collins.
forgivable. So Andre shows up and gives Lucille a big hug, and you're thinking, well,
What the fuck?
they obviously know each other. And Andre
Well, here's
explains,
the thing. At this point, Andre is the guy in the ground, the dead guy.
yeah,
No, he's fucking here.
he's fine.
He's alive. Well, had some plastic surgery, had some filler to make him look totally different, but he's been using the fake name Derek, and he got the letter from Michelle.
The bird is amused,
One of them's
basically.
the other one's dead.
Yeah, like they're just like, "Where's Kyoka?" It's like, "Oh, Kyoka died from old age." So Kiki is all we have now.
Nope, got shot.
Yeah, Kyoka got shot, but the explanation from Lucille is like, "Oh no, Kyoka just got old and passed." It's like,
She
"No,
missed the birds.
he shot his damn bird in the face." I mean,
I thought I had attachment issues to my cat. Yeah, so Celeste, they're like, all right, Celeste, your dad's here. What? What are
the
you
whole
fucking laughing
the crux of this film in a sense is just are there more daddy issues or sibling issues? Nope, we got both.
so many
And
fucking things.
I mean, effectively, this is one of the most fun and funny films we've covered.
Shut up,
Where
quit
I'm just
fucking
I'm
laughing.
just saying, okay.
I don't-
We haven't even met Esther, the mystery of Esther yet.
No,
So we'll
we'll
get
get
there.
to that in a minute. God forbid we able to be explain this whole thing competently. Yeah, but apparently Celeste's like, that's not what I did. And so Lucille, here's like kind of our first, like, I mean, I don't know, plot twist, but here's like our little first little modification on the flashback. Because the flashback that's been shown is Celeste's father one night just sexually assaulted her, and then she went to the wall and grabbed a sword and decapitated him. That's the flashback that's been repeatedly shown. Apparently, it was another guy. It was another man entirely that did all that. That sexually assaulted her. And so he started attacking this killer that just broke into the house, started attacking Lucille. Celeste showed up, and like as he started to assault her, when she was finally freed, she grabbed a sword and decapitated him. So it was a different man. Basically, they're trying to say, "No, your father did an assault. You crazy bitch." And then they like keep bringing up Esther, who is in the cemetery, dead. No shit. They exhume Esther's body for whatever reason. They're all dressed in. It's weird. I'm exhausted just trying to explain this.
Because
This
I
bitch.
mean, Andre is like, "I wanna see the body," kinda thing, because he doesn't believe
Yeah.
that she was ever hit by a car and killed. And so when on the reveal, even he's not really buying this, and what we see is, like, just those old Etruscan bones again, uh,
I guess.
and some jewelry, so it's like, I don't know if this is gonna work.
Yeah. And he asks what's going on. He's like, hey, what happened to Michelle? Because they're driving this fucking car. It's still there. And then she's just like, no, you made us literally dig up old bones to
Mhm.
confirm Esther dying. Just so ironic. Just so fucking ironic. Because I guess he's not buying that Celeste is Celeste. He slaps her and is like, where is she? It's just like it's like just a bunch of stuff that just doesn't make sense.
It's at this point, it's very, like, it's high soap opera kind of
What
dialogue
are you fucking
going on.
insinuating?
And and so quickly, Lucille's like, she went insane. She's
Sure.
incurable, and Andre's like, "I want her brought to the house." Basically, they just don't wanna have any of that happen. So Colin,
They
he's
don't want to deal with it. They
no,
don't want to deal with any family issues.
yeah. And
They don't
Colin
want anyone to reveal their dirty little secrets.
exactly.
Because Andre doesn't know about the incest yet.
No, no, and Colin and Celeste are up in a clock tower. Not literally, but I mean, they're up in the house, and Colin's about to try to shoot at Andre, and
Yeah.
basically says, "No, that's not the way to do it. That's not how we're going to settle the score," kind of thing. And then a plane arrives, and she shows up looking pretty confused. And Esther is like got a aide person with her to kind of help and so on. And the aide is
Yeah.
like, "This is your father." And then yeah, and then Andre starts singing, and that's not fun.
None of this is fun.
And, well, I disagree. Although, yeah, the singing bit, it's just like, oh God. And she's like, I used to
Why?
love when daddy would sing to me. And it's like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't.
No, you don't. No one misses their father
Stop
singing
it.
to them.
Stop
No
it.
one, no one misses that. I don't miss that.
So she finds a swing and starts like, asking him to push her on this swing. We get these flashbacks to the intruder,
Antoine.
Antoine. Yeah. And he's doing the pushing of the swing. And it's totally creepy because she starts talking about him touching her hair and so on.
Uh,
And while she's on the swing and so forth, there's all kinds of mob stuff going on inside the washroom or this back room that's like people gonna
Whatever's behind the fucking swing.
yeah, I mean, it's like high interrogation going on with corporal punishment stuff. I mean, they are like really, yeah, going to town.
So weird. Yeah, they just throw in the mob because, yeah, of course, if there's any family misunderstandings, yeah, that's there.
It's one of those things that it didn't hasn't come up in the film at all to this point.
No,
And then it's just like you needed to figure out an ending. So the last 15 minutes, we're gonna add in this little mob stuff going on.
it's just plot thing after plot thing constantly.
It felt like it felt rushed. It could have done more with that, but
So Celeste is like freaking out 'cause she's like, I don't know who my dad is or any of that. So it is revealed. Does this say it right?
I mean,
It's
basically, it's
basically revealed that the women have their names mixed up. Celeste is Esther, Esther is Celeste. Yes.
yes, yep.
Okay.
And we're
Which
wondering
means
who the heck,
Esther is Lucille's daughter.
yeah.
So that means Colin and Esther, aka who we've been referring to as Celeste this whole time. They're blood related siblings. This make you feel so warm inside. Ah,
It
and
wasn't bad
he's
enough.
cool with it.
Oh,
He's
Colin seems
happy
happy.
about it.
Yeah, this is no
It's me.
revelation. He's
Guys, if we have is this the first time a incest kink has been in a movie? I think that's what we would call this.
when it's celebrated. This is
Oh
not.
my, yeah, he's into it. He's cool with it.
Yeah.
He makes it just like go away. It's so gross. It's so
Mhm.
fucking gross.
And Lucille seems just totally put down, deflated, really.
Never,
For
never a happy moment.
oh, that poor woman. That poor woman. Oh God.
Never a happy moment in this movie.
Yeah, and we get
So and then yeah, so Esther is like, well, if well, If it wasn't my father, who did I kill that night? The fucking intruder. The fucking intruder. We've talked about this.
I mean, he was not only like a intruder to the house, but it gets more
The guy
complex.
who fucking sexually assaulted you, that's not your dad and is no one's dad in this movie, as far as we know. Colin is now holding Lucille at gunpoint, his mood having changed, and she's just like, explain everything because you've been lying to everybody. So Lucille grabs like this rifle, starts smashing shit. We eventually find Antoine's head.
And she smashes a potted planter, and there's a head inside of it. There's a
Yeah.
wrapped human head in plastic.
Yeah.
Yep,
So Celeste does recognize that face and is
yep.
like, oh, okay. Not happy.
What happens next is strange because Lucille, like, instead of running to Andre, she runs to Antoine. The inference there is that she's like in cahoots with each other.
Oh, this is a flashback.
Flashback.
Okay.
Yeah.
With the
Yeah.
head.
Because Celeste is watching them, like their affair, Antoine
They
and
had it
Lucille.
fair. Oh yeah, let's throw that in there.
Yeah.
Let's do Antoine.
So intruder, loose terms because yeah, they had a thing.
So they're making out and whatever, and she's yelling. Celeste is yelling for dad, and she wants Esther to help her. Lucille pulls Antoine off of her. Colin walks in just fucking screaming. Esther grabs the sword, and Lucille takes it from her, and then chops off Antoine's head in this flashback.
Yep.
And then we cut back to Celeste kind of returning from the memories, and it's just like, ugh. So she's finally returned from the asylum into this house that is actually hers. This is making any sense.
And
I really hope
and Andre, he's like, "This is your house. This is like,
this is your house.
your house." He's very adamant about this.
So Esther now knows she didn't kill shit.
At this point, we do know Lucille. We do get a clip of Lucille as the one that's doing the chopping of the heads. Finally,
Yes,
we finally go, okay, it was Lucille the entire time, and she has to pay. And now everybody gangs up on
she's like not having it.
no, nope,
She just gets like a bunch of cyanide, puts it in the sink, and sniffs it up. And that's it.
that is it.
And they know none of the again when Colin finds her, he has like a little paper towel over his mouth. I'm like, you're gonna die, dude. You're gonna die. Isn't this like where like it's like before the stuff like they explained to full I found this totally crazy. They explained to Esther that like everything that she imagined was just a psychological thing. And now like she just like had the memories of her sister who like was in the asylum
Hmm.
or whatever. It's some weird, convoluted bullshit explanation. You're like, okay, that's what you say.
Yeah,
That's what, yeah.
it's necessary within the Jalo to have either pseudoscience or like pseudo psychological
God forbid
theory.
supernatural.
And hey, yeah, yeah, that's
God forbid.
there's a line you don't cross,
It's a line, bitch.
right?
Yeah.
Because we can't just have two things. We just can't.
We
We can't be happy.
I can't make a political joke with that, can I?
No, you can't.
Damn it. Damn it.
So Andre, Derek, he exits the house, and then the police arrive effectively because they just are,
They call him Inspector.
and they call Andre slash Derek. They refer to him immediately as
As
Inspector, and I was like, I did have to kind of make certain of this
who?
because they ask for Alex and Michelle, and he's like, their past history. It's one of the risks of the job.
Oh,
That
happens.
happens all the time. Case is closed, Sergeant. And it's like, oh shit, you just dropped that, man.
Put a little bow on this bullshit.
They wrap it up so fast. These
They
last
don't explain it. They're just
uh
like, okay, I know who did it.
yeah. He's like, I was the police the whole time. He goes, that's the only way that I could convince Celeste that I was her father. I'm not her real father. Her real father, Celeste's real father. They're like, oh yeah, that dude died in prison 3 years ago. And the police took it on themselves to look after her.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? So we go to Kiki cawing in the cage and the body of Lucille. They get her old bones shuffled off to Buffalo. Inspector Derek is like basically wishes for less. Like he's like, you could
Good
basically,
luck, kid.
you're gonna have a successful new life ahead of you. You're going places, kid. You got this
And
whole
she's
house.
just staring. Just like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, she's still long gone. She's
She's like, I need to go back to the asylum because I need it.
yep.
So that's the movie.
Yeah.
Happy end. Yeah, happy birthday, everybody. This is the ending.
Happy ending, bitches.
I hate it.
Esther and Colin, if they get arrested, they like detain you.
Yeah, they're
That's it.
yeah,
So,
we do get that.
and
We do
Celeste
get that
just stands on the rock and like looking out to the future. And
staring, gone.
yeah,
So
it's
why
perfect.
did you pick this?
It has flaws.
Masterpiece.
No, it does.
What film can we actually say those words to?
No. Watch this movie. You'll have a wonderful time. Great fun.
Go watch it. Yeah.
It's great on
Since
set.
none of what we said made sense, it'll make more sense if you watch the movie. Mainly because we don't know. We like to play the pronoun game here.
It's kind of like Clue with incest and colorful imagery is how I kind of like to think of it. I generally kind of like everybody, but at the end of the day, they get up to some weird stuff.
Tim Curry would never.
Yeah, we don't have a Wadsworth, sadly.
No, there's
Yes.
no Wadsworth.
No,
There's no Wadsworth stand-in. Tim Curry also would not be involved in incest. So
technically, Rocky Horror did have a fair bit of it.
I didn't.
Just,
No,
just
not with
saying.
him
Okay,
involved.
true, true.
Exactly. What are your 3 picks?
I've been waiting 3 weeks for you to say it exactly like that. That is typically how that's our new thing. It's
Read, yeah.
if I were to ask you what your picks are, which I did attempt once, it was way too happy and cheery. But when you say, "What are your 3 picks?"
Last time you cut me off when I was trying to introduce this episode. And you were, I was like, do you want, I was like, what do you want to talk about next episode? And you were like, no, I did like extra credit. And I was like, okay, fine. Submitted.
I had no extra credit this week. I had 3 picks.
I don't, so.
I kept it to the rules here. So my first pick was uh, a film shot on video called Chaos TV from
Knew it.
2001. Oh, damn you. Did you really?
I was like, this is either
Damn
that
it.
or goddamn drowned in the pool.
Part two.
Part 2.
Part two.
Yes, part 2 specifically. I knew, you said,
Because I actually wrote a review and I didn't
not
delete
only
it
that,
20 seconds later.
not only that, you told me who recommended it to you.
Well,
He recommended it to me as well.
we'll get to him. He'll have his moment here in a
You
second.
have this moment in this.
Also,
He knows exactly.
I wrote an actual a semi thoughtful review, and it wasn't just song lyrics from Suzanne Vega songs. So that also probably was
Gotta
a
be children.
that was a giveaway. My name is Luca. That's what you're looking for. My name is Luca. He lives on the second floor as opposed
He
to
was shocked I knew that song. And I was like,
yeah.
no, that album's fucking great. I don't know what you're talking about.
Amazingly uplifting tune. I do get a kick.
Anyways,
So
Chaos TV.
all right, KSTV. Our friend Jim, he goes by Dog Faced Boy on Letterbox, and you should follow him because he is our authority on Aaron Brown and Misty Monday. He's an expert.
Yes.
I say that half jokingly because people think that you couldn't actually be very, yeah, very detailed and thorough on a filmography. Jim is exactly that. I think that he may even know Tina a bit, and this was his introduction to us to say, hey, give her films a try. You won't be disappointed. Chaos TV is a curious film. They're not. It's not terribly long. However, it starts in one place of what you think you're watching, and then all of a sudden, about 20 minutes towards the end, it completely turns the story on its face and hits like heartstrings, kind of emotional components that you would not pick up on at the beginning of the film at all. And I was pretty impressed. So thank you, Jim, for that,
Yes.
for introducing us to that.
I did not. I maybe got 20 minutes into it and like fell asleep. I was just like kind of not. I was not in the headspace. But yeah, go follow Jim. He's cool. He's not a creep. I know you hear like he's into Wave, he's into like Misty Monday, all that. No, he's not a creep. He's actually a really genuine, sweet guy who we like and we value his opinions a lot. So
Yeah.
Go
Pretty
follow him on Letterboxd.
pretty fortunate, and his span of breadth of films is very wide, and it's worth your time. So
Yeah,
follow
everyone's a
interesting
little
people.
niche.
My next film was from 1974, starring John Hurt, and it's called Little Malcolm and His Struggle Against the Eunuchs. It's about an art student that gets thrown out of college, and he creates a political party. I think it would be called like the Incel Party today. It's the Party of Dynamic Erection, which is a near fascist party.
What?
Yeah, it's to promote male sexual dominance and attracts a couple of friends to join his cause, and it does not go well. And he finds like the love of his life, and he doesn't follow through on the political aspirations, and it's crazy as hell. The artwork will tell you everything you need to know. But John Hurt, amazing actor, a lot of range there, and this is a very peculiar film. Little Malcolm and the struggle against the
I'm
eunuchs.
looking that up right now
Okay.
just for the post.
Oh, look at the poster. It's
Is it on Letterboxd?
yes, it is. And this was put
Post.
out by Apple
Oh, that
Films
thing.
and George Harrison from the Beatles. So this was the Beatles film company that put this out. And
I put that on my watch list when you watched it, and like my brother's the first thing I think like one time, like I was just like on my laptop like shuffling my watch list, and my brother saw that poster and was like, "What is that? What's this? Oops,
I mean,
oops."
sometimes the imagery might be fun or something, but then explaining it is tough. I have,
It's just even funnier now that you like put the word fascist in it. It's just
well,
even
I
funnier
mean,
now.
yeah, it,
And dynamic what the fuck?
oh yeah.
Okay, what's your third pick?
Third pick
I'm like,
is The Long Goodbye, Robert Altman's 1973 film, which I had seen clips from but never actually watched in full. And yeah, watched it in full with our friend Matt and Andrew, who were very well versed in the film, and had a great time with that. Quite special. Elliot Gould in a role involving his cat and specific cat food and some capers that go on. And yeah, yeah, good music. It also has a specific technique that they pointed out that I didn't pick up on at first, but when they explained it, I saw it everywhere. Was Altman constantly moves the camera and almost never has static shots. So does the psychological effect that you feel like you're always kind of everything's in motion, even when things are just simple dialogue being delivered. So yeah, very neat film. Most folks have probably seen it. Could be one that you haven't. And if you have not, then The Long Goodbye, highly recommend.
nice. I was half can I be mean?
Yeah,
I was half expecting you to put Tiptoes on your recommendations list because I know what kind of meltdown you had watching that.
I took it off. I took it off. It
You didn't rate it, I don't think. I think you just saw it as watched. You're like, it's awful. I was the one who found that movie and was just like, hey, buddy, I
Matthew
think this.
Matthew McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey, not really the biggest fan. He does a pretty decent job. Oldman, it's tough. The still photos that I sent you of these like silly sort of cartoon yes, sort of like straw stuffed legs in jeans kind of thing going on.
Woof. Woof.
It sank the career of the director who had promise, but I mean it
Oh, if
ruined
it saved. And I was like,
no, it it sank his career. It is
I can't imagine why.
Peter Dinklage does a great job as a drunk Frenchman, just causing havoc. So that's good fun. Tiptoes, strange
I'm
film.
sure you're so happy you watched. And that's not one of our picks. I'm sure you're so happy you watched it.
It was a lot of fun.
So fucking happy. So fucking
I'd
happy.
give it a try. But yeah, I wanted to pick it so bad just to get to talk about it because you can't share that with many human beings of like this exists.
Yeah,
This film existed. It was backed. Like there were financial people involved saying this is a good idea.
yeah, it looks like a decent, like a movie with like a decent budget too. It's like I found the movie in like a video that was like good actors but bad casting, and most of it was just varying forms of old people in blackface or yellowface.
Oh, speaking of that, Elliot Gould in The Long Goodbye takes his fingerprint ink and rubs it all over his face and starts doing Al Jolson impersonations. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? What is happening?
It's the first time we've talked about blackface on this podcast, but it's not on an actor I have a crush on, so
Kate
Sorry.
Kate Beckinsale and Patricia Arquette are in Tiptoes. Just saying, if
Are
you
they?
need some,
Or, like, grown, yes, like, actual, like, tall people.
yeah, you do get Michael J. Anderson from Twin Peaks fame. He's
Nice.
an asshole.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's a bad
He's
person. He's an absolute dick. So
and you're okay,
yeah,
cool.
yeah. I think he's dead
Okay.
now, or if he's not dead, he's of no interest. So he may as well be.
He was in,
Um,
like, a Scooby-Doo episode, so I'm, like, cool with him.
yeah, I think they stopped inviting him to the Twin Peaks get-togethers and so on.
Probably because Kyle and Laura had enough of him.
I think everybody just had enough of the guy.
Never mind David.
He just wasn't a nice person, from what I understand. And yeah, and if you fail David Lynch, you just fail that man. It's on you. You've earned that. That's not David's thing.
Alright, well, speaking of David Lynch, one of my 3 picks is one of his favorite films, apparently. It's Ed Wood's Glen or Glenda from 1953. I know people are gonna hear that and think, "Parker, you recommending a transphobic movie as a trans person?" No, I'm not. I actually watched it with the knowledge that, I would actually had some form of, like, gender dysphoria and like to, dress in women's clothes. He plays the main character of one of the 2 stories in this. It's his first directorial feature. I wrote about it recently in something I posted on the blog, which I know I need to post on there more often. I feel obligated. But also in a local film club zine that's coming out later this month. I thought it was weird and just, I mean, I didn't like always play along with it, but I thought it was fun. I think for 1953, it has a very understanding look at trans people because a lot of films at the time, as we all know, call like any gay people fucking freaks, right? Let alone like drag queens, cross dressers, trans people, any of that. So I think, it's a very important film, just as far as LGBTQ history, that even if the quality of the film is like kind of hit or miss at times, it is Ed Wood. It's kind of shot, it's on a low budget, acting's kind of stiff, writing's not great. It just kind of doesn't make sense sometimes, even if Bela Lugosi's in it for a little bit. But it is clearly like his little pet project, and it's worth a look at, I think. Next pick is also recommended from my buddy Jake, who runs a local film club down here. It's Hard Ticket to Hawaii. I recently watched that. Banger dumbass action flick, where another movie where you just have to kind of roll with the punches. Nothing like when you have something like a snake that was turned crazy because of cancer infested rats and you got razor blade frisbees and that sort of shit and you're on Hawaii. Also the no bra boycott of 1987, if you know what I mean. I'm here for it.
And
I was down. It was fun.
Andy Sedaris films are such a blast, but you do have to sort of go in with a little bit of tempered, not overly sensitive or on a bad day or anything.
You can.
You have to go in with a fun, like, this is has gonna have silly moments that are light,
Exactly.
and I don't think his films are mean spirited, but
No, they're very they feel like maybe inherently self-aware, not like inherently better or anything, but like they know what they're doing.
yes.
You know, they're not like, I mean, he made fucking 12 of these suckers, you know? He knew, him and Arlene knew what they were doing. Definitely recommend that if you haven't gotten around to it. Then finally, I think we have our first animated recommendation because someone said animation is only for children. It's Perfect Blue from 1997. It's an anime film about a pop idol who makes the transition into becoming an actress and just loses her shit as her world falls down around her. She has a stalker that complicates a lot of things. She's haunted by her, past reputation as an idol, which I know I asked a friend of mine who knows like the culture in Japan and Korea is as far as like pop idols is much different than in what we have, pop stars here in the US. So it is terrifying, it is really creepy and introspective. There is like a really intense sexual assault scene that I think kind of fairly early on that kind of drives home the point of like blurring reality fantasy, if that makes sense. So I highly, it's on Shutter right now. I highly, highly, highly recommend watching if you have the time. It's not terribly long, I don't think either.
Is
So highly recommend that.
is this considered hentai giallo?
No,
Okay, good. Okay, good to know.
no,
Good to
not
know.
that.
Good to know.
Not that.
Okay, so some
No.
controversial moments or hard scenes, but
Controversial,
nothing.
controversial, but not like I mentioned the sexual assault because it's just really intense and crazy. And if you don't like that sort of thing, you can skip it. It's very no, this is not hentai. No, 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 very far from it. It's a very serious movie.
Ahead of its time, from what I understand. I
Very,
only know
yeah,
a bit about it and seems extremely well
yeah. I've heard about
regarded.
it. I have a ton of people who love anime, love horror anime especially. I'm kind of like behind on the kind of behind on the train there, but
I'm just excited it's on Shutter,
definitely.
so that's easy access
It is
to.
better, yeah. Because I know neither of us are like super well versed in like Asian cinema, so I was like pushing it. Yeah,
Don't watch that.
it's it's good. I mean, I highly recommend it.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're awful for like just not watching animated movies and like thinking they're for kids.
there's room for growth, room for learning.
I've made you watch Catsuit twice this year.
I did enjoy that. That was good fun.
It's fun. That
Yeah,
movie's fucking great.
yeah. You always
That
want the
movie's
films that change your opinion. And I'm not even saying
it's
I have like even I think it's the lack of opinion is the worst. It's one thing if you go, okay, I don't like murder mysteries. Oh, fine. There's other films to watch. But because I don't know anything about most of these animated films, it does leave a large like void of opportunity.
when you go in kind of knowing the audience it's for,
Hmm.
right? Because like a lot of like animated Batman stuff is like geared towards like it's maybe marketed towards kids, but you watch it and it's a bit more serious. There are some movies that like I don't think really should have been marketed explicitly towards kids, like Fantastic Mr. Fox or Coraline. I think those are two super popular examples of like films that were a bit more adult in their themes or their presentation that
Sure.
like ended up being marketed towards kids. But there's one Deaf Crocodile's releasing that I'm really excited for. It's Feel a Day. It's like this R-rated German
Fun.
animated cat movie. I'm excited for that.
That'll be fun.
I'm so excited. It's a murder mystery. So I heard them talk about it on a recent episode of Unsung Horrors when they had them on for one of their releases, and I'm super excited for that.
Yeah, Deaf Crocodile and Fun City Editions just don't put out bad films. Everything they put out is
No,
very, very good.
out of the
I think
question.
that's within, groups of fans and so on as well. We have a Discord and we've been watching
We do. Yes, we
Eastern
have a Discord.
European
Oh, we haven't
animations.
talked that.
Yeah.
We do have a Discord. DM us for a link.
Sundays we watch Eastern European animation,
Yes.
curated by one of our friends named Delighted, and they find some impressive deep cut stuff. And we only watch typically 3 to 4 shorts. They're about 8 to 10 minutes in length, and then sometimes we'll add on a Jan Svankmajer or other Eastern European stuff as well. So
Not an area of cinema that's talked about very
I
much.
I suppose not.
We're always talking Western European. We never really talk about the Eastern side of it. So it's a genre area I'm like very interested to explore. DM us for a link.
Yeah, we always post the
We'll be so
playlist. Yeah, the playlist as well. So it's like we can get you the
yeah.
playlist you can watch on your own time.
Yeah. Also, you can be creepy and chat with us. So sort of thing.
Optional.
Optional, yeah. You can just be. You can literally just pop in and be like, "You're a dick marker," and just leave.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would do that, but
Oh, I think I would get more of the hate mail than you. That's
moving on. Next episode is we're finally talking about Jeffrey Combs on this podcast because like before I had Udo here, I had Jeffrey Combs, and I love him shockingly. But we're talking about a newer film, which I know many of you will probably not like. I don't care. Motivational Growth from 2013, aka the Talking Mold Jeffrey Combs movie.
I'm in. I'm completely in.
Yeah. I hope you suffered an episode on this a couple years ago. If you want to go listen to that, I also suggest just going fucking watching it because it is on Tubi. I think it's on. It might be on Prime. It's not hard to find, is what I'm trying to say. You don't need to buy a physical or anything like that. You don't need to download it. It's out there. It's very fun. I don't expect it to be a terribly heavy episode. I say that now, and we might go down a rabbit hole, but I highly suggest watching it going in semi-cold without the knowledge I just dropped. Okay, yeah, that's kind of all I could say about
Yeah.
it without just spoiling it. You can follow the podcast on Instagram at Where Is My Mind Podcast. Of course, like we just mentioned, you can join our Discord. We also have a blog spot. We usually link in our show notes if you want to check that out. I know there's only a few things on there. We're trying to work on that. It's just the only one I'm like commissioned to write for my little film club that I like post shit. So we're working on it though. Follow me on Letterboxd and Instagram at parkit_BMD, and you can follow Ryan on Letterboxd and Instagram at Ryan_BMD. Any last words?
You said park it underscore BMD. You
Underscore.
said BMD for yourself.
Parkit_BE. That's my handle. God damn it. God damn it. Can you tell I like just got back? Can you tell like my flight the other night was delayed like 2 hours?
You got some jet lag going on. Not really.
Serious.
Takes the brain a
Yeah,
bit.
that I was scheduled to close like the next day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's weird.
just serious like brain problems going on right now. So
Happy ending, bitches.
see ya.
Bye.